Also, before I make an opening statement, those individuals that are running audio video equipment, you cannot leave your equipment unattended. This is a public hearing concerning the 2040 Comprehensive Plan. We will now hear public comment, and the hearing will proceed in the following manner. We will take comments in the order in which individuals have signed in to speak. If you wish to speak but haven't yet signed in, please do so out in the lobby. Individuals will be allowed a maximum of 3 minutes to testify. This is our opportunity to hear your thoughts on the county's 2040 Comprehensive Plan, and you must stay on topic. It is not an interactive dialogue or a question and answer session. In the interest of time, if you agree with the position of someone who has previously testified, you may simply identify yourself and state that you agree with a prior speaker. We will then move on to the next speaker. You may only speak once this evening. I'll call 2 names at a time so that while a person is speaking, the next person can be making his or her way to the microphone. Please be respectful and use appropriate decorum. We thank you for actively participating in this civic process. Before we begin, I'm going to read a statement that pertains to the conduct and the decorum of this meeting. I want to address the new rules. We have received constructive comments from several community members who value the First Amendment, as we do also, and want to make sure that our rules do not abridge anyone's rights. First, our rules are not meant to restrict viewpoints. All you have to do is watch the past few months' meetings to see that we are extremely tolerant of critical comments and allow them to be expressed. At the same time, preservation of order at a public meeting to ensure that meetings can be efficiently conducted is a legitimate government interest. The Constitution allows the county to establish reasonable rules to that end. Our new rules are reasonable and viewpoint neutral because all of them have the single objective of preventing actual disturbances at the meetings. All viewpoints are welcome. All we ask is that speakers maintain a conduct, volume, and tone that does not disrupt the meeting. I'm quoting here from federal courts that have addressed this issue. Quote, "It is well established that a citizen addressing a city governmental body is a limited public forum, may be stopped from speaking if the speech is irrelevant, repetitious, or disrupts, disturbs, or otherwise impedes the orderly conduct of the council meeting, so long as the speaker is not stopped from speaking because the moderator disagrees with the viewpoint he is expressing. We will conduct ourselves accordingly. Regarding profanity, it is settled law that reasonable restrictions on profanity that disrupts the meetings are constitutional valid restrictions. The question is when such language becomes disruptive. It is my job to make that distinction. There may be children who attend these hearings. In that case, excessive repetitive profanity that serves no purpose other than shock value will be disruptive to the meeting, as it will require parents to leave the room and impede the children's and their parents' ability to access the meeting. We also have people who watch at home. These people have every right to access these meetings. But if a speaker uses extreme, excessive, and repetitive profanity, such that cable television and social media restricts access to our videos, in my opinion, that is disruptive because it impedes the access of those at home. I'm going to ask all speakers, regardless of viewpoint, to be sensitive to the rights of others when speaking. If profanity gets out of hand in a way that is excessive and repetitive and disruptive, I will ask you to stop regardless of the viewpoint being expressed. Finally, I ask all speakers to be mindful to others. If a speaker's conduct, volume, or tone is such that a reasonable person will view it as threatening or aggressive, such that they reasonably fear danger of bodily harm, and for that reason want to leave the meeting, I will ask the speaker to cease the conduct, lower the volume, or change the tone of their remarks, regardless of viewpoint, so that they can make their viewpoint known without disrupting or impeding the meeting. The rules are a work in progress, and we are grateful to the community members who have provided their input. Our hope is that speakers will feel comfortable to express their viewpoints while being sensitive to others so that all viewpoints can be heard. Thank you. With that, first person to have signed up is Mr. Rob Faree.
Everybody can hear us through this microphone? Yeah, Rob Faree. I'm representing Bowman Development, the largest locally owned commercial developer in the county. And our concerns are mainly located in Chapter 14, the land use. First one is the UGA. Right now, the chapter shows a reduction of about 3,500 acres in the UGA. Why limit growth in a 20-plus year plan? I know the rationale seems to be because of the limitations of the current water system with the city of Hagerstown, but that can be addressed. That can be corrected within 20 years. So do not decrease the UGA. In fact, the plan ought to do some pre-planning for future growth in the UGA in the next 20-year plan. The second concern is the land uses that are shown in the map in Chapter 14. And it says that these land uses will be used for future rezoning, for the basis of future rezoning. Our concern is that the current flexible HI zoning land appears to be changed to a use called industrial use. And the definition says the focus uses will be manufacturing, processing, and transportation. We would recommend that this use gets changed to industrial flex, the same category that the 2002 plan incorporated, which allowed the very successful HI zone land that we currently have. I'll give you an example how this could affect future development. The land west of Hitachi, land that we sold to Hitachi to help that deal go through, to Greencastle Pike, through which Halfway Boulevard's going, which the Bowmans donated the right of way to. We envision that to be an industrial park similar to the Governor Lane and similar to the Bowman Business Park, where you have flexible uses, manufacturers, contractors, small warehouses, also retail, insurance companies. As you know, at the business park, we have over 60 different types of businesses. And a strict interpretation of industrial would not allow this type of use. So again, we recommend to change the industrial land use to industrial flex, modify the definition to include flexible commercial uses, same as the 2002 comp plan did. Since I have a little more time, all I can say is, hey, that plan is well thought out. The staff did a good job with it. And there's action items in that plan, particularly in regards to housing and water. Those action plans ought to be accelerated to happen quicker. Thanks.
Thank you. Next up is Jason Dablebs, and on deck is Jim Kirchville.
Thank you, Commissioners. My name is Jason Dablebs. I'm here this evening on behalf of 3 separate property owners, so I request your indulgence if I run over the time frame just slightly. I'm going to try to get all 3 requests in at one time, so you don't need to see me any more than once. The package of information I provided you has information with regard to each of the 3 separate properties, and I've separated them. I hope they are self-explanatory, but if not, I'll attempt to clarify a little bit here with my comments. The first property is located at the southwest corner of Lappins Road and Sharpsburg Pike, adjacent to the existing AC&T store. It's a 5-acre parcel that was acquired from the adjacent property and added to the AC&T parcel with an eye towards possible future expansion or a minimum buffering from the existing store. The property was acquired in 2021 through simplified plat of subdivision. It was added to the AC&T parcel, but when that happened, it retained its agricultural zoning. The corner parcel where the store is located is zoned rural village with a rural business overlay. So currently the comp plan land use map recommends rural village for the corner parcel where the store is located, but recommends the 5 acres that was added in 2021 have a combination of agricultural and environmental conservation. The property would request that that recommendation change so that the 5 acres that was added in 2021 have the same rural village designation as the corner parcel. The Planning Commission unfortunately disagreed and rejected the property owner's request for the rural village classification, in part because the rural villages are not intended to grow. But in the materials I provided you, you can see from the map that the southwest quadrant where the store is located actually has the least amount of rural village of any of the quadrants of that intersection. So the request to add this 5 acres not only eliminates that split between the master parcel, if you will, and the 5 acres, but sort of right sizes the rural village in that location, if you will. So on that basis, we request that the classification for that 5 acres be changed to rural village. The second property and the second package of information you have, it's an interesting one. It has to do with the Hershey family's property that's located out on Spielman Road. The entire parcel is about 200 acres in size, but the request this evening is only for a 36-acre portion of it. That portion has always had, it had an industrial flex classification in the 2002 comp plan. It was zoned HI1. It has maintained its HI zoning to this day. So even though it's not a separate parcel, it has maintained a commercial classification in the comp plan and an HI zoning. The request would be for that 36-acre portion of the Hershey property to maintain a commercial classification in the land use map and not be taken out of the growth boundary. May I continue because I have 2 more properties?
Sorry.
Okay, you have the package of information, and I can follow up if you have any questions later about any of the details of either one.
Okay, thanks, Mr. Dablebs. Jim Kirchville, and then on deck is Bill Erskine.
Good evening, Commissioners. I'm here. I'm Jim Kirchville, Executive Director of the Greater Hagerstown Committee. I'm here representing GHC's task force that looked at the comprehensive plan and made recommendations. I submitted our public comment to you, and I'm not going to go over all that in detail out of respect for your time. I just want to kind of make 2 comments. First of all, I want to thank Jill Baker and her team, as well as the Planning Commission, for getting us to this point. It's been a nice process. There's a lot of work that goes into this plan, and we appreciate that collaboration and back and forth as we work through this process. I think they're often underappreciated when you got to go through the difficulties of creating a comprehensive plan. Secondly, just one area I want to highlight out of some of the, we had 5 or 6 different recommendations, but there's a component in your chapter 15 under the implementation section that staff had included a short-term goal to create a comprehensive workforce housing study. We strongly support this concept and would like and believe that should be something that started as quickly as possible. We'd also like to see that expanded to include what's called missing middle housing. This is housing that is somewhere between, the dense townhomes and large apartment complexes that people see that tend to, scream high density residential and single family homes. But these type of quads and there's different type of courtyards setups and site plans, they tend to fit in nicer with communities, but they also help create homes that are more affordable, particularly when you're looking at our medium household incomes and the workforce that we have here in Washington County. One of the numbers we like to track is the median household income, the amount of home that can afford. Right now, that's in the $260,000 range if you're figuring 30% of your income. And we compare that with what the average home is selling for in the county. If you look back the last 23 years, those are typically similar within a few thousand, with the exception of 2005, where we had that housing boom, and that gap between those 2 numbers was about $40,000 or $50,000. Over the last 2 or 3 years, that gap has grown exponentially. It's about a $150,000 difference, and that is creating a really challenged housing market for our workforce, particularly when you're looking at what the average county wage is here. To help try to combat that, having more density in the urban areas, which is what helps protect the rural nature of this county. We want to see the rural lands, which makes up the majority of the county, stay rural. But our urban areas, we need to make sure we're making the best use of that land. And we believe a lot of this missing middle housing might be a solution that helps find the right balance between creating housing that development community can build and make a profit on, but also fits in better within the neighborhoods. So it's better with the neighbors that are going to be living around it. So we encourage you to start that study as soon as possible, as we know that fits into how you have to, what you have to do next with updating all your other policies. Thank you very much. Oh, look at that. It's perfect.
Thank you, Jim. Next is Bill Kirchville, and then on deck is David Tracy.
Good evening. My name is Bill Ersk, and I'm with the law firm of Offutt Kerman. I'm here this evening to speak on behalf of two related property owners. It's the Bostetter family. There's a trust, and there's also an LLC that's involved. There's two properties. One is parcel 454 and tax map 36, and then the other one is in tax map 37, parcel 41. As we understand it, based on the county GIS, the portions of both properties are currently in the UGA. And as we understand it, the proposed comprehensive plan proposes to remove a portion of parcel 454 from the UGA. So our first ask is, to the extent that we have any property within the UGA, we ask that it not be removed. I did have a conversation with Ms. Baker, and the map, as I read it, is of a scale that is very hard to make out. And so it's conceivable that some of what I just said may not be the case, and maybe none is being removed. But that brings me to my next topic. Because they are essentially split zoned, these two parcels are both sides of the two parcels are in different zoning districts, and they have different land use designations. We would like to have that unified under a single land use category, and also in the future, a single zoning category. And that would, of course, afford the owners a better opportunity to have a planned development with their property. In total, they have about 250 acres of land. And so it does give them the opportunity to do some very creative planning. And I did send some written comments into the commissioners. It has greater details on what their thoughts are for the property. So thank you very much, unless there's any questions.
Okay, thank you. Next is David Tracy.
Good evening. My name is David Tracy. I'm here as a representative of both of the family partnerships that Bill just mentioned. Here, my brother-in-law, Martin Bostetter, is here as well. The Bostetter family has owned these properties for, I think, about 130 years. There are many maps that show this area and refer to it as Bostetter, Maryland. And as a longtime family owner, we would like the ability to develop the property at some point. And as Bill mentioned, we're trying to understand if, to the extent that there are properties that were in the primary growth area, we'd like to have those retained in the primary growth area. And if possible, at some point, we'd like to have that expanded or have all the zoning unified. And that's all I really needed to say this evening. Thank you.
Okay. Next is Martin Bostetter. No comment? Okay, thank you. Next up is Justin Holdm.
Good evening, gentlemen. I'm here today on properties and comprehensive plan. Similar to the representative for Mr. Bowman, water resources are important to growth in this county. I've been investigating that through the Public Information Act for about 5 years now. I think it's cost the county over probably close to $500,000 litigating with me, hiding documents related to that water plan. And what I found is the county's just lying. The whole plan's a fraud. We say the properties are hooked up to water and
Point of
sewer.
order. We'll reserve your time for a minute. I don't believe that this is necessarily specifically germane to the comprehensive plan.
That the whole plan's a fraud? That we're misrepresenting
It's not relevant. Either stick to the issue and move on or recuse yourself.
Okay, what's relevant to the issue that we have an MPDS permit that we're representing to the federal government? We have water and sewer on this plan, and we're dumping it in the creek and the well. I think that's relevant to the environment in this county. I think it's relevant to the water resources. I think that the reason we have to pull back the uniform growth areas, we can't develop our water resources because we're misrepresenting facts to the federal government. And we're doing more than misrepresenting them. I've been pointing this out to the county commissioners for over 5 years. And instead of correcting it, which is very easy, you can take it out of a service area and then you can put in an actual septic system. Because I represent 3 properties in Keysville, and I'm not even allowed to put a septic system in because Jill Baker hasn't written a letter to the county health department or the state health department to say, hey, these properties are dumping shit in the creek, and we don't want that. And I don't think anybody wants that in our creeks and our wells. Our Boonesboro wells are polluted with fecal coliform because the ponds leaked into them. Everything on the east side of 34, we have to put in enhanced treatment in Keysville at the water plant. People don't want to drink water with fecal coliform on it, and it's a limited resource. Mr. Bowman's right. We're going to have tremendous growth in this county, and we can't hide these facts anymore. We have to come clean. We have to represent to the federal government with our MPDS permit, which, by the way, a sanitary sewer overflow is a 15-year, $250,000 criminal penalty to knowingly and willingly do it. And I'm pointing it out to you, 5 people at this board, that it's happening. I have the documentation, just like people earlier today had other documentation from court.
Can I just get a point of clarification? I understand, I'm following, I'm tracking what you're saying, but I believe that the county commissioners do not have any control or management responsibility or funding for the county health department. That is an MDE, state of Maryland issue. We do not manage it, we don't direct it, we don't control it, we do not evaluate it. Isn't that correct?
That's correct.
So, you know, the county health department, and this is one of the challenges I've noted, Mr. President, is, you know, there are many things that say Washington County, they're not necessarily ours. So I just trying to get this on topic.
True.
Okay, I'm not here about the health department. I'm here about the comprehensive plan and the representations on the comprehensive plan.
Okay.
Just as you fellas appear to suppress documents and falsities earlier today, when you said that Mr. Barr's molestation charges were adjudicated and you
Okay,
continued
Mr.
to lie.
Holdm, Mr. Holdm, you're finished.
Finished.
Next up is Levi Trumbull.
So just from an outside perspective, I really don't understand how much more low it can get than having your political adversary arrested for his free speech.
Point of order. Point of order. It's not relevant to
What?
the issue.
Has nothing to do with the comp plan, Mr. Trumbull.
Okay, well, I'm just putting it out there. Today, Curtis Ray,
Mr. Trumbull,
Okay.
you're out of order, and I'm going to ask you to stop
okay,
or leave.
okay, may I please finish
You're going
my,
to stay on topic
well, I didn't believe that I had to, I'm here to speak. That's what I'm here to do. This is my public
regarding
comment.
this meeting is being held for discussion of the comp plan, nothing other.
I understand that, but I still would like to say what I would like to say during my 3-minute public time. I had a First Amendment the last time I checked, and I just wanted to talk about the fact that there is somebody today, well, not just one person, but multiple people in the county who have tried to come up and talk, give their public comment, and they have not been able to do that, and they've been gavelled down, and I think it's concerning, and I also think that the people in Washington County, Maryland, they would like to see people be able to come up and have their right to free speech.
I'm done. Mr. Trumbull, you're finished. Turn the timer off, you're done.
Am I finished?
Yes, you're finished.
I don't get to, okay.
You know.
So
You're interrupting.
Okay.
Become-
I'm not interrupting, I thought I was 137 seconds. I'm not
Mr.
trying to interrupt.
Trumbull,
Okay, I don't know what's
I'm
happening here.
speaking.
Yes, sir.
I'm the president, I'm the presiding officer in this meeting.
Understood.
I've warned you, I've asked you, I've been nice to you. You're out of order. You're bringing up things that are irrelevant to this hearing in this meeting. And you have other ways to communicate with us. So I'm asking you to please sit down, and I'm moving on with this meeting, or I'm going to clear the room again.
But I just want to, okay, I will do that.
Don't argue with me.
I'm not arguing with you.
Yes, you
You're
are.
asking me to leave. I just want
I'm
to
asking you to leave the microphone.
leave the microphone. So my public comment was just suspended right there.
That's correct.
Okay, I just wanted to thank you. That was all I was seeking clarification for. All right, well, that's unfortunate. Thank you, guys.
Okay, next up is Connor Mcmanis.
Good evening. I'm here representing a property owner that owns a couple properties in the county, but specifically here discussing 19817 Beaver Creek Road, which is tax map 58, grid 15, parcels 52 and 351. It's about 132 acres at the southwest corner of National Pike and Beaver Creek Road. I'm here on behalf of our client requesting that the current zoning here is RM, residential multifamily. In the 2040 comp plan future land use map, it's projected to be mostly low-density residential with a sliver of commercial up front. Our client is requesting consideration that all or a portion of that property remains at least at the same density as it is currently zoned as RM, that they purchased the property at a few years ago. And at the very least, consideration be granted to the access for the portion that is to be remaining commercial. The access isn't realistic right there. It's right off of a divided portion of National Pike just south of the intersection. As a civil engineer, I anticipate State Highway will have issues with access to that portion. So consideration be granted to more of the property at minimum being granted commercial future land use. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And last up on the sign-in sheet is Ann Aldridge.
Good evening, and thank you for this opportunity to comment. I want to particularly thank Jill and her staff. I think they've done an excellent job on the comp plan, laying out a viable vision for the county's future that takes into account so many of the activities and qualities that make Washington County a great place to live. My comments address two areas, one historic resources and the other forestry. Our sense of space in Washington County is created by the built environment through the ages. And I think that all residents value these features in the Washington County area, as do many of the visitors to our county. Historic tourism travel is a key part of our economy. And so I was really pleased to see the emphasis in the Chapter 5, understanding that and looking forward to things that we can do in the county to make it certain that we protect these resources. Most of the resources, historic resources, are concentrated at crossroads. These are also the areas for development. And we really need a dialogue on how we can encourage historic reuse of the properties versus demolition and rebuilding to preserve the reason I came to Washington County, which was the historic resources. The plan lays out many excellent suggestions to help ensure we discuss these conflicts and move forward to lay out clear directions to protect the features as our population and land use changes. I urge the commissioners to start the development of an historic preservation ordinance that's recommended in the plan that clarifies activities and provides incentives. Also, moving forward to update historic resources inventory is critical because right now we're missing any documentation of the 20th century, which was key to at least my development, probably some of yours. We also need to clarify the demolition and neglected property ordinances, as we are losing many of the resources to actual demolition or demolition through neglect. It pains me driving through the county to see things from the 1800s, 1700s in absolute dismal shape because property owners haven't been able to keep them up. We are also small, my husband and I are small landholders focused on restoring our forest resources to ecological health. And the section on forestry discusses and discourages animal grazing. I will provide these comments to Jill.
Please, please, thank you. Thank you, Mrs. Aldridge. That's everyone who signed up. Is anyone else who'd like to make comments this evening? Paul Fry?
So thank you, Commissioners. Paul Fry, President, Washington County Chamber of Commerce, representing the Board of Directors. Want to reinforce the report that Greater Hagerstown put together. Among other folks, we worked on that work group. And we have a very diverse board representing a lot of Washington County. We have a superintendent of schools. We have Dan Spedden with Visit Hagerstown, HCC president. We have representation from Emeritus, small business, large business, and working towards this comp plan. And again, reinforcing what Jim turned in with Greater Hagerstown. We'd like to support that as well. And thank you.
Thank you. Last call. Again, thank you for your patience here this evening. Appreciate your time, appreciate you being here, your comments, and please drive safe.